Hey, you're watching Vinyl 4 Miles, your best resource for music, audio gear, and vinyl reviews. Today, we're diving into some really cool audio gear sent to us from Como Audio. We're taking a look at their analog turntable and their Blu Stereo wireless streaming speaker system. Stick around. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Michael. What we do here is audio gear, vinyl gear, guitar gear, anything having to do with my hobbies, I'm on top of it. I'm gonna bring you content. If that's something that you're into, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, the bell notification while you're at it. Diving into today's video, we have two pieces of really cool gear sent to me by Como Audio. We have their analog turntable with a walnut veneer finish, and we have their Blu system, which is a stereo speaker system. It can take analog in, it can also do Bluetooth 5.0 streaming in stereo. Not only does this system look really cool and can be an awesome addition to any living room or listening room, but it's functional. You can listen to any of your auxiliary inputs. You can also stream wirelessly from your phone. It has a clock built into it, and it just sounds superb. Setup for this was insanely easy. Took me about 20 minutes to get all of this set up, including setting up the turntable. This is a plug and play system, and there's even an optional battery pack you can get for these speakers if you want to take them on the go without a power cable. If you've watched my previous reviews, you may have seen me rave about Como Audio's other turntable over here. This is their Bluetooth turntable. Now, both of these turntables that I have in my studio were made in conjunction with Pro-Ject. So Pro-Ject is one of the #1 leading names in turntable manufacturing, and each one of these are actually very, very close to other Pro-Ject models. Now this is comparable and nearly identical to Pro-Ject's E1 turntable, which is one of their entry-level turntables. It features a name brand Ortophone 5E cartridge, and operating this thing is just a breeze. There is no anti-skating settings on this turntable because it's pre-configured at the factory. You do, however, get a tone arm weight in the very back that you can move with an Allen key, and as you adjust the tone arm in the back, your anti-skating automatically adjusts. I tested all of that out beforehand and I had zero issues. So before we dive into the technical specifications and do some demos with this turntable and speaker system, I want to first thank our sponsor, Saraband. What they sent me is the Blue Velvet soundtrack. This is a special edition Record Store Day Drop 2 release, and why don't we open this up and check out what you get. A very nice matte cover. It is a gatefold. We have printed sleeves on the inside with liner notes and all kinds of information on how they put the soundtrack together, how they shot the movie. And this does come on, you guessed it, blue marble. So this does have a special edition cover featuring the original Italian artwork and the original movie poster artwork from Enzo Schiotti. This has 60 minutes of additional music, including Blue Velvet from Bobby Vinton. So if you guys are gonna be record shopping on Record Store Day, June 18th for Drop 2, make sure you pick up a copy of Blue Velvet. This is a must-have soundtrack. For those who are into weird horror and just odd movies in general, this is a cult classic, 1986 Blue Velvet. All right, so for some of the demos we're gonna be doing in this video, I will be using disc 2 of Blue Velvet on blue marble. All right, so now that we have heard from our sponsor, why don't we go ahead and dive into the technical specifications of this turntable. So the Como analog turntable, first off, it features a 300mm heavyweight platter that is steel. So this is going to reduce vibration and give you a solid playing surface for your records. On top of that platter, you're gonna get a custom Como Audio slip mat. I do like their slip mats. They're nice and thick. They do stick down, so when you're taking your record on and off, they don't tend to stick to the record, which is great. We do feature a medium density MDF plinth with a walnut vinyl veneer on top. It gives it a very classy look while keeping the turntable nice and light. So when it comes to the tone arm, we get a straight aluminum tone arm on here, and it is pre-mounted with a Ortophone 5E cartridge. The operation of this turntable is extremely simple and fully manual. The cartridge is pre-configured from the factory, so you don't have to mess with the weight on the back. However, I did lighten the weight just a little bit to the manufacturer specification of 1.5 grams. Turntable does come with a included dust cover, which is nice. There is a Como Audio badge on the front of the dust cover, and you do get a Como Audio badge on the right-hand side of the plinth. On the left side of the turntable, you do have your power switch, and that is actually the only operation switch on the turntable. It's a 3-in-1 switch. Middle position is off. If you put it to the right, you go into 33 mode. If you put the switch to the left, you go into 45 mode. On the back of the turntable, you have a few options that you can choose from. So it does have an RCA female jack, so you can use any RCA cables you want But the great news is this does come with Hifi cables. Came with a 6-foot Hifi RCA cable with a connected ground, so if you're using a stereo that does have a ground, that will take care of all your noise issues, no problem. You also have a line and phono selection on the back, so if your stereo has a built-in preamp or you have a separate phono preamp, you can bypass the one that's built into this turntable and just use the direct out. Or if you want to use the built-in phono preamp with the turntable, something like this, like some powered speakers, that's an option too. I'm happy to report that the built-in preamp is actually totally fine. I thought it sounded great, and pairing it with these speakers here and the speakers and stereo in my living room, I had no issues when it came to sound quality. It does feature 3 feet on the bottom and they are non-adjustable, so just make sure you're putting this on a completely even surface before you start spinning those records. It did come with some goodies. It came with an alignment tool, a Pro-Ject branded alignment tool, a paper tool. It came with a 45 adapter. And the great thing about the power cable on here is it's modular, so if you're from Europe, United States, doesn't matter what region you're in, you're gonna have a power adapter that will fit the outlet wherever you are. So those are the specs and features of the turntable itself. As I mentioned, it's a very basic, very well constructed manual turntable. Fully analog, no bells and whistles, no automatic features, but this is what I look for when I look for a turntable. Something solid, something I know is going to work, and mechanically something that is very simplistic and easy to work on. It is a belt-driven turntable with a very quiet motor. And finally, if you do buy the package that comes with the Blu speaker system and the analog turntable, it comes with all of the connection cables that you would need to use this turntable with these speakers here. So now that we have all the technical specifications out of the way with the analog turntable, why don't we go over some of the specifications with the Blu stereo system. So as you can see here, we do have the Blu stereo system. Not only does it look very unique and vintage, but it actually matches the analog turntable itself. So we have a walnut veneer on both of these. It is a 2-channel system, so channel 1 you'll have your auxiliary in. Now when you're in the auxiliary input, these little lights up here will light up green. When you go to Bluetooth,
Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
It'll let you know you're in Bluetooth mode and it'll turn blue. Why don't we go back to the auxiliary input? Some other cool features is it does have a digital clock on the front. So you can see it currently is 4:21, and I did not set the time here. I do have an iPhone. All I did was sync my iPhone via Bluetooth to the speaker system, and it automatically picked up on the time on my phone. A really cool benefit with these speakers is you can put an additional battery pack into the left speaker and not need to plug them in to listen to music. That means you can take these anywhere, connect via Bluetooth, and listen to them. You can go camping, bring them to your friend's house, or set them up in your home in an area that's not convenient and has no power inputs, and just use the Bluetooth connection on the speakers. So something you get with Como Audio's setup here that you don't get with some other Bluetooth speakers is this is true stereo. The stereo separation on this sounds excellent. If you put these 6 feet apart from each other, and that's what I recommend doing. This is actually a little close, but it's as big as the shelf I have here is. If I were to set this up in a different room, I'd put at least 6 feet of separation between both speakers, but it does play your Bluetooth audio in true stereo, which is great. A lot of other Bluetooth brands only do mono, or they do a compressed stereo with like 2 speakers in a single column, so there's none of that stereo separation that you would get with a system like this. So kudos to Como for first off putting a battery pack in here, which is great, and having the capability to do stereo and Bluetooth, really cool. This is utilizing Bluetooth 5.0, so it is almost on the latest. I think 5.1 is the latest, but at least it's on 5, so you're not gonna have any connectivity issues, and it should auto pair with your Bluetooth devices, no problem. So these speakers do feature a 30-watt Class D amplifier, and connecting these to the analog turntable and the Bluetooth Como Audio turntable was honestly extremely simple. So why don't we go over the connection cables that you're gonna get in this package and how to connect it to the Blu system. So I went ahead and flipped around both of these units. So the turntable itself is flipped around and the left speaker. Some things to mention on the back of the speaker itself. So the base port is up here, and it's actually convenient because you can just stick your hand in there and use it as a handle when you're transporting the speaker, which is great. This is the battery compartment where you can put the optional battery. It is a 2200 milliamp hour battery, so this will give you a few hours of listening time before it dies. But another cool feature about the battery is when you turn off the speakers, it keeps your clock settings. So the battery itself, I believe, is 20 or 30 bucks. Definitely worth investing in if you get these speakers, primarily just to keep that clock constantly in sync. You're never gonna lose the time if you have a battery pack on here and you unplug it or you turn it off. So now going to the very bottom, here's what the package comes with. So it came with this cable here. This is the wide cable. So we have an auxiliary stereo adapter here, and then we have a female RCA jack. What you do is you go out of the analog out on your turntable, so your RCA cables connect the left and right. I also have the ground connected, but there's not a ground terminal on the speakers here because they don't need one. So that's just gonna be kind of hanging around. What you do is you just connect these together like this. So now I have my RCA cable going into a single input. That is literally it. You connect this to the auxiliary in input, and now the turntable will work with your stereo system. Just make sure you turn it on, go to auxiliary in, start playing records, and it's that easy. So some more features on the back of this speaker. We do have a bass knob here. You can turn your bass up or down depending on what type of music you're listening to. I will say once you go above half, it's gonna get very flubby. Your note separation gets a little distorted. So I like to keep it either in the middle or a little bit below, probably put it like 10 o'clock. Next to that, you do have the only output on here for your other speaker, and it's called the speaker jack. This speaker connection here, I believe this is an orange cable. It's permanently connected to the right speaker. So I mean, you cannot remove this, but it connects the two and does the stereo separation. So connecting the two speakers together was insanely easy. And then finally at the very end over here on the right side of the speaker, there is a mono selection and a stereo selection. I would never take it out of stereo. I don't know why you'd want to listen to mono. Maybe if you're listening to old Jimi Hendrix or something like that. But I keep it to the right and I keep it in stereo mode at all times. Another great feature of this speaker is if you're big on listening to music with headphones, there is a headphone jack out on these speakers. So if you want to just turn the speaker on and connect your headphones via the headphone jack on the back, you can do some silent listening to records wherever you are. You don't have to worry about getting a headphone adapter or a headphone amp to connect to your turntable. It's already built into these speakers. So that is the connections with the analog turntable. Very easy to do. Literally connect one cable to the speaker, plug it in, connect your right speaker in, and you're ready to rock. So I'm not gonna be able to play a whole lot of music for you here, but I'm gonna go ahead and give you a quick clip of the Blue Velvet soundtrack and how to operate the turntable. So first thing you do is on the left-hand side of the turntable, you're gonna push the power button towards you, which goes to the 33 mode. Once it's on, you can see that it's spinning. Very simple, you put the tone arm lift up. You position the tone arm over the record where you wanna drop it. The really cool thing about the Orderphone 5E and the 10E cartridges, they're very skinny, so you can get very accurate as to where you drop the cartridge down. So let's go ahead and drop it down. I will just say once you get above 23, it kind of feels like the system's maxing out. So these are great speakers for smaller rooms or medium rooms. A few other things to mention, there are non-stick rubber on the bottom of each one of these speakers, so you don't have to put any kind of speaker pad on the bottom of these. It's built in, helps with reducing vibration, and then it just keeps them nice and stable on whatever surface you're putting them on. And they do have aluminum grill covers, so if you have kids or pets, you don't have to worry about anybody poking out the woofer or the tweeter on here. They are protected with the aluminum grill. All right, so something I want to show now is how this works with the Bluetooth system. So I'm gonna go ahead and scoot over a little bit. First thing I'm gonna do is turn it to Bluetooth mode.
Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
It should auto connect. Just give it a few seconds.
Device connected successfully.
That's the cool thing about this system is it auto syncs with the Como Audio Bluetooth turntable that I have right here. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and put this record on the Bluetooth turntable, and I'm gonna go ahead and play the record on the Bluetooth turntable. If you wanna know more about this turntable here, the Bluetooth turntable, you can watch my review up here of this turntable. Again, this was designed by Pro-Ject as well, and this is comparable to the T1, except for there's one awesome upgrade on this that the T1 does not get. This has an Orderphone 10E cartridge on it. So just like that, I'm now wirelessly playing a record on the stereo system. So if you have an environment in your house where you can't put the turntable between your speakers and you want to have the turntable off to the side or in a different area and you don't want to have to route cables to it, get the Bluetooth turntable and the Blu system and you can wirelessly play your records to the speakers wherever you want to put them. I do have this in piano gloss white, but unfortunately the only color that the Blu system comes in is walnut. So this system typically runs $7.99. Now this turntable right now is on sale. You're getting 200 bucks off, so you can get the turntable by itself for $199, or you can get the Blu system plus the analog turntable for $5.99. I think at $5.99, that is more than a fair price. This is a great setup for your small to medium rooms. It does feature a clock and all kinds of other connectivity. So for $5.99, definitely a good investment to go with this system. So how is the audio quality? Now I mentioned that the bass gets pretty muddy after halfway. So if you do get this system, it really depends on what you're listening to. If you're listening to a record, I typically have the bass either at 12 o'clock or 10 o'clock. If I'm listening to audio directly from my phone or Tidal or streaming on Bluetooth, I tend to turn the bass up a little more because the sound is a little more treble heavy coming from your phone versus an analog record, which is a little more warm and bass heavy. But I do like the fact that they're rear ported, so a lot of that bass resonance comes out the back and doesn't come out the front. Now when it comes to how powerful, these are 30-watt speakers, so they're not going to be the most powerful speakers. They're comparable to smaller like M-Audio, other types of bookshelf powered speakers. So at 30 watts, it's plenty of sound for casual listening. But if you're going to be running a party, or if you're going to try to blast and do some isolated audiophile listening, you definitely want a more powerful system. So with the turntable itself, the 5E cartridge, it is a name brand, great cartridge, it's a reliable cartridge, but it's extremely transparent. So using the 5E cartridge with these speakers, you're going to hear a lot of noise. First off, surface noise on your record, so make sure you clean the record really good. There was some minor distortion that I was hearing, and also the bass response is not going to be as clear as if you had, let's say, the 10E. So my recommendation, if you do get this turntable, you're totally fine keeping the 5E on for however long you want, but I highly recommend upgrading either to the 10E or just completely changing the shell itself and going with something like the 2M Red or 2M Blue. If you guys would like to purchase this system, and I recommend getting it as soon as you can since it's $200 off, there's a link in the description. You can also get free shipping on this if you use the code COMOFS, all caps, at checkout. So not only is it $200 off, you get free shipping. That's a hell of a deal. All right guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you want to see the full review of the Bluetooth Como Audio turntable, you can check that out up here. If you want to see some other turntable reviews, go ahead and check out my playlists. Again, this was Como Audio. Huge shout out to the Como team. They're great to work with, very knowledgeable audio experts, and sending this to the channel was a real treat. Thanks so much, I love checking it out, and I plan on using it for future videos to come. All right guys, that is the video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. What turntable setup are you using? Do you have Como Audio setup at your house? Do you have their Blu system? Do you have their satellite radio system? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you guys, and also let me know, are there other turntables I should be checking out or be aware of? I would love to hear your feedback, and as always, thanks for watching. I'm Michael. See you next time.